Hello, hello. We are live. Welcome to our meal prep today, this Sunday, where we feature our tomato zucchini stew, which is part of our weekly meal plan. And we're also in our second week for the 2 week challenge. So this week, um, we will go over the meal plan. I will cook the tomato zucchini stew in this session, and I will answer any kind of questions you may have. So, for anyone who is new to this style of cooking, or anyone who is new to Eat Like a Vegan Chef, we are currently in our second week of the 14-day spring challenge. And if you had signed up for it, then you do have access to the meal plans and everything else that comes with the challenge. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I can guide you through whatever information you need. Okay, so before we start, just want to make sure that let's see who's currently doing the challenge. By the way, it's always nice to talk to an audience. If you would say hello, then I know you're there. Otherwise, I just see a number, and that's sometimes pretty boring. So I would appreciate if you just say hello so I know you're there, and then we can have a conversation, and we'll we'll talk about our meal plan. We talk about the challenge itself. We talk about the challenges that come with that. And I'm here to help you to get through this. So this is really, really important. I know many of you have joined the challenge to get back on track, to get a little bit more of an idea of what it is, what it means to follow a whole food plant-based lifestyle. So from that point of view, I'm here to help. It's a very simple meal plan, in my opinion. But again, there are always challenges. There are always situations where you may have questions, and that's what I'm here for. Okay, good. Okay, great. Um, let's get started. Let me ask you, who is in the challenge? Just give me a quick yes or no. Then I have an idea who's in the challenge, and we can go over any kind of um, challenges you have. Okay, Michelle joined. She said it's the first time on the week. Okay, welcome. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. I can tell you from experience, from previous coaching experience with my clients, anyone who is going on a whole food plant-based lifestyle, you know, at first struggles because there's a lot of things that come into play, not only from the cooking part, not only in, by eating this way, but it has a lot to do with our holistic well-being. And that's what we're going to discuss throughout the challenge. We have Q&As. Next week we are going to have again um, question and answers and accountability sessions where you can join. They have been made public. So basically, what you see in our challenge is what we do all year round. And I provide meal plans for everyone who is joining Eat Like a Vegan Chef. You can sign up on my website, eatlikeaveganchef.com, and get access to it. And again, the challenge is free. It's for you to explore if that's something for you that you like. Okay, welcome everyone. Hi Kelly. Hi Michelle. Hi Karen. Hi Sherry. Okay, let's get going. And I'm going to share my other screen with you so you can see what I do. We're going to cook the tomato zucchini stew, and After that, I'll go over any questions you may have. Okay? Good. Let me share my change my camera, and then what's happening? There we go. Good. Okay, again, for everyone who's new, we are cooking without oil. Let me switch my microphone so you can hear me properly. Let me know if you can hear me properly. Just give me a quick yes or no, and then I know I have to switch my settings, but you should be able to hear me. So I'm heating up my pan over medium to high heat. And we always want to have water right next to here, or low sodium vegetable broth. Okay, we're going to start with our onions. Garlic and onions, we're going to saute. And as you can see, there's no oil in here. And we start sauteing until we see that the onions slightly start to caramelize, then we add a little bit of water to it. Onions do have quite a bit of oil in themselves. This is actually the whenever your eyes are, when you start to cry when you cut an onion, that's actually the oil in the onion, and it helps us saute the onions so they don't burn right away. And don't add too much water. If you add too much water, you actually steam the onions. You don't want that. We want to saute our onions, and in this case, we're making a stew so we can caramelize on our onions. There are some stews or soups where you don't caramelize your onions. For instance, a potato leek soup, you don't want to caramelize them because it would make the soup brown. So in this case, we want our onions to caramelize. It gives us a nice sweet flavor in our stew. Remember when your grandma cooked food for you and the food tasted sweet, tasted so unbelievably good, and you asked her, what did she put in? She said, oh, I don't know. At least with my grandma, she said she didn't know what she put in there, but I put a lot of love in there. That's what it is. So in this case, when you saute onions long enough, they become sweet. And that's why it makes the dish beautiful, sweet, without adding any sugar to it. And I'm not talking about sweet. I'm just talking about just the right amount of sweetness, underlying sweetness that makes every dish so beautiful. And you can tell the onions starting to caramelize. getting slowly browner. Some pans, like this pan, doesn't require too much heat. You can turn down the heat to medium high. But other pans, like stainless steel pans, you can operate on full power. They can take the heat, but certain pans don't require high heat. Okay, so our next step is sauteing our zucchini. Okay, I have green zucchini, yellow squash. I'll leave it up to you what type of zucchini you want to put in. I put yellow and green just simply because it's a nicer color. Okay. Next step is our cumin and chili powder. About a half a teaspoon of cumin. And a teaspoon of chili powder. And actually, there was a small paprika, and now a teaspoon of chili powder. And you can tell if you add too much water to it, the pan cools down dramatically. So you don't want to add too much water. As you can see, the pan cools down dramatically, and we don't want that. So as soon as the spices hit the pan, the heat, you can smell the chili, you can smell the cumin. It's beautiful, beautiful aromas. I'm also going to add the tomatoes, which I had cut in half. I used red tomatoes. You can use cherry tomatoes. In the middle of the summer, I would recommend using regular tomatoes because they're in season. But cherry tomatoes are always offered in the supermarket because they are grown in greenhouses. Okay. So if you cook with salt, now's the time to add a little bit salt. Salt is completely optional. You really don't have to, because especially if you use vegetable stock. Okay. And we're just going to let it saute for another 2 minutes or so, and then I'm going to add my beans to it. We also can add our oregano to it. This dish takes a little bit of practice, even though it looks very, very simple. But until you get it the way you want it, it takes a few times. It looks very, very simple, but it is important that you get the rhythm of when you put in the ingredients. Very, very important, because in the end, they determine the flavor of this dish. And you know, for some of you, you prefer the zucchini cooked down a little more. For some of you, you want them a little bit more al dente. Now it's the time to put the beans in. For instance, if you want the beans to release some of their starches, you actually have to put in the beans first, or right after you saute your onions. But in this case, I don't want the beans to release their starches, because it's not a soup. It's not a black bean soup where this is the case. So from this point of view, I want the beans as a protein. And of course, they add their share of flavor to it. Now I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit and just let it simmer. I'm going to add just a little bit of water to it. Now the flavors are melting together. And this is the key. You want to make sure that you get optimum flavors out of this dish, but you don't want to overcook the vegetables. The tomatoes will be cooking quite a bit, and they will fall apart. If you like your tomatoes rather whole, then you put it in later. But because we put the tomatoes in earlier, we get this sort of tomato base in our stew, which is kind of nice. Thank you, Juanita. Okay. And we're almost there. You can tell that the zucchini are slowly getting there. They're still kind of hard, but I would say maybe another 3-4 minutes, and that's it. If you want it, you can put the entire dish as it is now. You can put it in the oven. So a little bit of water. And finish it in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes, 350 degrees. That will bring the flavor in together very nicely. Much better than a pan ever can. So keep this in mind. If you want to cook a really delicious meal, just take it from now, put it in the oven, and let it cook for another 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes. You could even reduce the temperature to 325, and you get a beautiful dish. So now you want to taste. See if we have, you can already tell that the beans giving up starches. I don't know. Let me see. So it's getting thicker already. This is beautiful. That's why I don't add the beans too early to it, because it's really not necessary. And what I'm going to do is I can put the cover over it for just a few minutes and let it simmer on. Before I do this, I'm going to taste it. Oh my goodness. A little black pepper. And that's it. I want to add just a little bit more liquid. So all in all, I maybe use 2 cups of liquid. Everyone is different when they saute. So that's why I don't give the amount of liquid, because I sometimes I cook with 2 or 3 or 4 cups, and my cooking process takes maybe a lot longer than yours. You cook it in 4 or 5 minutes, but you only use maybe 1 cup. So everyone cooks very different. It depends on the heat you're using. The more heat you use, the more water you need. So from that point of view, the liquid can be very different for the same dish for different users, for different cooks. Okay, good. So just now I'm gonna let it simmer for maybe another 2, 3, 4 minutes, and that's it. Okay, I'm gonna switch my camera. Okay, good. So does anyone has any questions? I'll be happy to answer them. Again, we are in the second week of our challenge. Anyone who is a member who is with me and looking at the meal plan, the meal plans are currently in the challenge, in the spring challenge module. You'll find it there. Okay, so this week basically we have our veggie spring curry with rice and beans. For lunch, basically we have Monday veggie curry, we have Tuesday our zucchini, then Wednesday our curry, and Thursday we have one more time the zucchini stew, and then we have eggplant teriyaki, and on Saturday, of course, is our rewards day. That's I would say on Saturday itself, you can make it your Cinco de Mayo day if you wanted to. You can have a whatever Mexican dish or whatever you like. Um, on Thursday, I will probably cook something for Cinco de Mayo, but I will let you know. And yeah, does anyone else has any questions about the meal plan? I guess everyone is okay. It's very straightforward. You want to eat your heaviest meal for lunch and a lighter meal for dinner. And we have 3 days of intermittent fasting this week. This gives you a real, I call it, oomph, so to speak, in your weight loss. However, if you're not into intermittent fasting, that's fine. You can have breakfast. Um, this week we have our acai berry smoothie, and or you can have sautéed vegetables. So it's really up to you. Okay. Um, yeah. So basically, that's it for me. Let me know if you have any questions about the meal plans or anything else. And yeah, so you have an idea how to cook this zucchini stew. The curry, okay. When you cook the curry, you want to make sure that you marinate all the vegetables as it is written in the recipe, and then saute them so that you expose the spices to the heat, and then you add your liquid, your water, or vegetable broth to it. And it's really, really important that you cook the curry for at least 10, 15 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer. You want to make sure that you cover the vegetables almost with liquid, and cook it down so that the sauce gets thick. That's really important when you cook your curry. Okay, good. Um, I guess that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this cooking demo. It will be recorded, obviously. You can always look it up on YouTube or on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, if you don't mind, click the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this cooking demo, or follow my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and have a great day.